Hey guys, Sam from BallerBBQ here. This week I'm making an injected pork butt on my Charmate Lawson Water Smoker. So let's go do it. Okay, so here I have a 6.5 pound or 3 kg pork shoulder with the bone in. So I'm just going to remove the skin and all the hard fat, any bits of stringy stuff, and it's still got like the spine and little bits of bone on the side of it. So I'm just going to remove that as well. So then it will just have the, I think it must be the shoulder blade inside it. So I'll just speed through all this so you don't have to watch it all. But basically you just want to remove that hard fat because that's not going to render down. Any of the softer fat, you can leave it there because that will render, and it's just going to make this pork shoulder even juicier. So once your pork shoulder's all cleaned up, it's time to make the injection. So in a pan, I'm just going to add 1 cup of orange and mango juice. I usually use apple juice, but I just thought I'd try something different. Adding 2 tablespoons of the rub that we're going to put on the outside of this, and 100 grams of butter. Now I'm just going to warm this up. I don't want it to get hot because that can cause problems when we inject it into the pork, but just warm enough to keep the butter melted. And once that butter's melted and all mixed through, we'll go back to the pork and we'll start injecting. So now we've got our injection, that butter's melted through and it's nice and consistent in there. So we're just going to take our injector needle and suck up some of that injection. And just start injecting the pork, probably every couple of inches. Just inject it. Just be careful because as you do inject it in there, it's gonna squirt out. If it just squirts out onto the surface, that's okay. It's gonna help the rub to stick to it, but it can squirt over walls and over yourself, so it's best just to put your hand over it. And you can see the pork puffing up with that injection. So just keep injecting all the way over it, top and bottom and the sides. And once you've used up all that injection, it's time to put the rub on. So this part's pretty easy. Just take your favourite pork rub and just start sprinkling it over all the surfaces. Make sure you get all surfaces covered and the sides. Have a good covering on there. This rub's got quite a bit of sugar in it and it's going to help create that nice bark we're after as well. Now once that's done, we'll head out to the smoker and start smoking it. Okay, so we're outside at the Charmate Lawson. I've got a chimney starter on the bottom rack where the coals go. I'm just going to fill it up with briquettes, about 3/4 full. Put a fire lighter underneath it and light the fire lighter, and then we'll give it about 20 minutes or so for those coals to ash up and get nice and hot. So now the briquettes have ashed over and they're nice and hot. I'm just going to pour them into the center of the bottom rack, and I'm going to put the rest of the briquettes around the sides. This will allow the briquettes in the center to light the unlit coals on the outside, and it's going to result in a long burn time. This pork shoulder, we're looking at about 7 or 8 hours for it, so this method will be perfect for that. Now I'll just put the Charmate Lawson together, putting the central section in. Make sure the bottom vents are wide open, and I'll take the front door off so it gets heaps of airflow while we put it all together. And I'm going to put the water pan in there as well, because I'm going to be cooking at 110 degrees or 250 Fahrenheit. So that water pan is just going to help stabilize those temperatures at a low and slow cooking temperature. Fill the water pan with water, and I'll just put both of the racks in, even though we're just going to be cooking on the top one. Put the lid on, close the front door, and just wait for it to come up to temperature. Once the smokers come up to 110 degrees or 250 Fahrenheit, I'll just close the bottom vent a bit to maintain that temperature, and I'll put the pork shoulder straight onto the rack. And I'm going to put a meat thermometer in there as well for my Weber iGrill 2. And we'll close it up. And I'm going to put a couple of chunks of hickory straight onto the coals, and this will provide a nice amount of smoke. And then I'll just check it every couple of hours to make sure that the water pan has got water in it, and refill it as necessary. So the pork shoulder's been in the smoker for about 4 hours now and has developed a beautiful bark on it, so it's time to wrap it in foil. So I'll just put that back on the rack and put the meat thermometer straight through the foil into the meat, and leave it there until the internal temperature comes up to about 95 to 100 degrees or 210 Fahrenheit. Okay, so the internal temperature here has come up to 98 degrees, and I've moved that probe around a little bit while it was cooking just to make sure that it's going to be 100% done. And now we'll take it inside and pull it apart. Okay, so I've just unwrapped the pork shoulder. It's nice and hot, and it's time to pull it apart, and I'm just going to make some sliders out of it. But I'm just touching it and it's just falling apart. A nice smoke ring on there, that hickory smoke's soaked into it. The bark has gone a little bit soft because it's been wrapped, but that meat is just falling apart. It's so good. Now I'm just mixing the meat with all of that sauce that's leaked out of it, breaking up any bigger bits, but that's going to be perfect. Alright guys, so that's our injected pork butt on the Charmate Lawson Water Smoker. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like, subscribe and share it with your friends, and we'll see you again next time.